ध्यायेत् शारदचन्द्रसुन्दरमुखम् ताम्रारविन्देक्षणम् भक्ताभीष्टवराभयप्रदकरम् कौपीनमात्रोज्ज्वलम् स्वात्मानन्दरसानुभूतिविवशम् सर्वानवद्याङ्गकम् श्रीमन्तं श्रीरमणेश्वरं गुरुवरं योगासनाध्यासितम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षातात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामच्युतव पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। Namo Ramana. In this Tuesday's Satsang from Ramanacentre for Learning, Bangalore, we have been reading reminiscences by Mahakrishna Swami in the book Years in the Presence of Ramana, my Master. After reading this week's question and answers from the chapter Happiness, the Natural State of Being, we will have a 20 minutes self-enquiry session. Followed by that, our President Sarada Akka would be talking about self-enquiry as it has been contemplated in chapter 18th of Ramana Gita, a composition by Ganapati Muni, which is basically questions put to Bhagavan by Ganapati Muni's devotees and other devotees, and Bhagavan's answers to them, which Ganapati Muni has captured in Sanskrit and come out with Ramana Gita. And finally, we will have the concluding prayers to Bhagavan. This week's question is about people constantly live surrounded by all types of suffering. Is suffering of some usefulness in feeling perfect happiness? Is the question. People constantly live surrounded by all types of suffering. Is suffering of some usefulness in feeling perfect happiness? Bhagavan's answer. What is happiness for man? It is a beautiful appearance. Is it a beautiful appearance? A healthy body? Is it assured nourishment and other things in the same proportion? All suffering is due to spiritual ignorance, and it appears because man confuses the Supreme Self with the profane ego. I repeat Bhagavan's answer. What is happiness for man? It is a beautiful appearance, a healthy body, it is assured nourishment, and other things in the same proportion. All suffering is due to spiritual ignorance, and it appears because man confuses the Supreme Self with the profane ego. Yes, when we look at our own life, from morning till evening, there is some or the other suffering that goes on. We may be doing a work which we are doing every day. Suddenly, and we might have even accepted it as to be our job and responsibility. Suddenly, on the day or that moment when we want to do it, we may feel not so comfortable mentally. We may feel we want to do something else, or we are not in what is called in the right mood. But there starts the suffering. And there could be even physical suffering, let alone mental, which may make us pull our attention again and again to it. So the question, therefore, looking at one's own life, and since we can see that similar phenomena would be in most people, the questioner here beautifully asks on behalf of all of us, why do we sin? Because we are constantly surrounded by all types of suffering. Is there a divine scheme in a way that suffering is of some useful in feeling perfect happiness? And Bhagavan doesn't talk about suffering. He talks about the wrong idea of our happiness. Why do we suffer? That is why, or why do we feel that we are suffering? That is the light which Bhagavan wants to put at. He doesn't want to answer whether there is suffering or whether there is happiness. He wants us to recognize something which is making us feel that we are suffering. That is what is Bhagavan's attention. And after bringing the attention to that entity, which makes us feel that we are suffering, constantly suffering, Bhagavan doesn't stop there. He asks us to inquire who is that one who experiences suffering, to take us to our natural state of being the Supreme Self. So, Bhagavan puts a counter question. What is happiness for man? Suppose I want to do some work and I feel bored to take it up immediately. My question should be, okay, I'm feeling bored. What is the happiness am I going to get by feeling this boredom? Or what is the happiness I am going to get by not doing that work? If we can simply ask, then we can see that we may not get anything out of it, but we may be getting carried away by it. Only in that context will the real light, when that inquiry is made, what do I get by whatever I am feeling now? A sense of suffering. From this suffering, if I keep on suffering for the next 10 minutes, what do I get? So if I ask that question to myself, then Bhagavan says that we'll realize that we are simply following an idea or a concept just because it is there appearing in front of us, without even recognizing or even thinking, why am I following it? So Bhagavan is asking, what is the happiness for man? Is it a beautiful appearance? If I appear beautifully, is that the sense of happiness? And we have seen, if you go, we live in a world now where we have movies and beautiful heroines and heroes who play, and they are all, people will be very crazy about them, about their looks, about their beauty. And we will also be very crazy about our own looks and beauty, and therefore we would like to dress well, appear well. All of that is there. But we know as years go by, there is no way for us to retain that same old glamour or appearance. Everything starts to change. So even a healthy body. Today I was talking to my cousin, who is a doctor in Mysore. And he was explaining how he gets back pain and it becomes very difficult for him for a couple of days to do the operation, and that pain is very, very bad, he said. And we were talking about him incidentally yesterday with another doctor who is also in our family, and that doctor was also complaining. We are all of the same age group, and he was also kind of complaining that how earlier he could see 50, 60 patients, and today and these days it becoming very, very difficult after a few numbers, and that the age is not helping him with all of it. So I mentioned about this other doctor who is complaining about the back pain, and he said no, he was maintaining his fitness all along. I've seen him do his exercises early morning, weightlifting, this thing, that thing. So how come he is having back pain? So I was trying to say that, can there be, because you people are doctors, can we say there can be any golden rule that can be written that by doing this, we will always have a healthy body? There is no such golden rule. They agreed that there is no such golden rule. So Bhagavan is saying, is happiness something that we will get by maintaining a good appearance or keeping a great body and eating a nourishment-full food, or other things in same proportion? All nourishing things, whether materialistic, is that all going to bring us happiness? The answer is, we know that what could be appearing nourishful, what could be appearing beautiful, what could be exercises and other things, what we may be thinking is helpful for a healthy body, in the same way the weightlifting and other things may cause some issues also. So we never know what is right, what is good for ourselves. But we do all of this hoping that by doing this, by constantly doing this, we can maintain a good appearance, maintain a good healthy body, a very good nourishment, maintain that material comforts. But in the due course, we will be so busy doing it that we rather, and we do all of it for the sake of happiness, but we figure out that the happiness itself was experienced far and few times in between. So Bhagavan says that all of this is basically happening because we have forgotten who we really are. And when we turn our attention to our own nature and start looking at our own nature intently, start identifying ourselves with that, then and there only we see that in our true nature, there is no body, no appearance, no nourishment required. Nothing has to be materialistically achieved for us to be happy. In fact, there is no such ideas or concepts in our true nature. Then, to whom are all these ideas and concepts appearing? Who is getting influenced by that appearance matters? Who is getting influenced that exercising is going to keep me healthy? Who is getting influenced that I should eat nutritional food? Who is this entity? And why I think that those ideas are more important than the self? That is because we take ourselves to be this ego, this intellect which works in this intellectual seat, which thinks it can know, which thinks it has control over this body and therefore it can do, and therefore it can accomplish. And in this dual cycle of knowing and then doing and knowing and then doing, caught in that dual thread, we totally forgot, why am I knowing something? Why am I doing something? And for whom is this? So Bhagavan here is therefore asking us to question this supreme, this ego, which rises in the form of I want to know, I want to do. Why I want to know? Because I need to have the knowledge about how to maintain this appearance, how to maintain this body, or how to have a very nutritional thing. I will watch some videos about it. And then, having known I want to do, I will buy those nutritional food. I will put on some wonderful clothes. I will exercise. All of it I do. And I hope by this knowledge and my doing, I have accomplished a perfect equilibrium in body, mind, everything, so that I will be happy. But I sooner or later start to see that I had absolutely no control. All of that may help me in a little bit of keeping fitness and everything, but there will be pain, there will be some malnutrition which I might have not attended to. I might have given all the nutrition, I might have missed out on vitamin D, I might have missed out on B12. So Bhagavan is saying that sooner or later we recognize this, attending to this profound ego as ourselves is of no use. Therefore, it becomes very, very important for us to inquire who we really are. And that realist questioning of who we really are is the beginning of the end of the play of the ego. Slowly and steadily, Bhagavan makes us recognize we are the transcendental truth and there is nothing that we need. The more and more we get back to our real nature and more we start to recognize it, the more and more we start to relish it, and less we will be carried away by the concepts of the ego. Therefore, Bhagavan has devised this beautiful remedy called using the same sense of knowership, the same sense of doership that we have. For it, he has given this inquiry. Then know who you are, and then practice this inquiry. Then with that knowing and that doing, when we keep on doing it, slowly and steadily we recognize there is nothing for us to know, nothing. In fact, the entire act of knowing and doing makes us become a limited entity. But if we can be Simha, as Bhagavan says, here and now, the Supreme Self that we are doesn't need anything externally. Then, in fact, there is nothing external at all apart from that. And therefore, he takes us back to our real nature, which is so naturally available. With Bhagavan's immense grace, with which alone we come to this most direct path. For the next 20 minutes, let us practice Atma Vicharan. Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana. Over to Sarada.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as a self in all beings. By the immense grace of the self manifest as Ramana, we in this part of the satsang are meditating on the verses of Ramana Gita, which is a compilation by Ganapati Muni of the questions posed to Bhagavan Ramana by many seekers of truth and the answers which he has given to these questions, which the Muni has compiled in different chapters, in 18 chapters, and coded it in Sanskrit. So we have these 18 chapters, and we are now meditating on the 18th chapter, which is Siddha Mahimanu Kirtanam, glory of the Siddhas. And in this chapter, there is only one question posed by Yoganatha Yati at the very end of the chapter. Amritanatha Yati, Amritanatha, Yoganatha had a question in the 10th chapter on Sanghavidya. This is Amritanatha. But before the question itself is asked, Muni has given us a string of praises on Bhagavan Ramana, and we are meditating on verse 10. So in verse 10 he says, Vedadipaka Damanottara Kachapeshai Yuktair Dharadhara Shushuptyamareshwaraischa Sukshmamrita Yugamritena Saha Pranantya Sampanna Shabda Patalasya Rahasyamartham. He says that Bhagavan is the rahasya or the secret import or the mystical import of the mantra Om Vachat Bhuve Namaha. Om Vachat Bhuve Namaha. Now, how is this mantra? This mantra is not mentioned in the verse, but the mantra is decoded usually in Sanskrit in this manner by using words. Like even if when we see the history of the historical date which Muni gives at the end of some of the chapters or in the beginning of some chapters, the numerical numbers are referred to as, if you look at Isha Putra Shake Shaila Bhumi Nanda Dhara Mite. So when he says Bhumi, it is one Bhumi. Nanda is, I think it is 7. Again, Dhara is 1. Then Mite is, it goes like that. Whatever the 9. But if you have to put it in reverse, then you will get 1917 or 1911. So similarly, Vedadipaka Damanottara Kachapeshai. So this Veda Adi. Veda Adi means Veda Adi is Pranava or Omkara. So it is Om Vachat Bhuve Namaha. Of that, Veda Adi is Om. And then Paka Damana. So I got this from G. Kameshwar. Paka Damana, from the destroyer of Paka Asura. Paka Damana. Damana means destroyer. The Asura, Paka was destroyed, which is Indra. And that is the Bija of Indra which says la. Okay. Then uttara, damanottara. So it is the letter next to it in the alphabet, which is after la, which is va. So Pakadamanottara. Pakadamana is Indra. The bija of Indra is la. Uttara, the next to that is va. So Vajat Bhuve Nama va. Damanottara. Kachapeshai. The Kachapeshai is, it says the bija of Rudra in his form as the Lord tortoise. Kachapa Isha, the Lord of the tortoise. So is Kachapa Isha. So that letter is Cha. That bija of Rudra is Cha. So it comes as Om Vachat in Va Cha. Then Dharadhara. Dharadhara is mountain. And the bija of the mountain is Da. Vachat Bhuve. Vacha Da. Sushupti. The Shakti power of deep sleep. Whose bija is the letter? Bha. Amareshwaraischa. The Lord Ishvara of immortals. Amara, deathless. Rudra dwells in this name. His seed letter is U. So, Vachat U. Bha from sleep and U from Rudra. Vachat Bhu. Yuktaihi. Union at the beginning of the line. Union is with Bhu. So, Yuktaihi. Shukshmamrita, whose Shakti's bija is a letter A. Yug Amritena. Yug, that is A joined to nectar, whose seed letter is Va, becomes Va plus A becomes Ve. Okay, so it Vachat Bhube. Pranatya Namaha unites with the suffix Namaha. So the Sampanna Shabda, Pranatya means Namaha. So Vachat Bhuve Namaha. Om Vachat Bhuve Namaha. So this can be known only to knowers of truth. It says, and the secret of this mantra is revealed only to knowers of truth. To them alone can artham or full meaning be outwardly expressed, as in the form of King of Ascetics, Bhagavan Ramana. So this is the meaning of Om Vachat Bhuve Namaha is the mantra. But Vachat Bhuve also means the fire or Subramanya. So Vachat Bhuve Namaha is a reference to the fire of Brahman. Bhagavan Muni says Om Vachat Bhuve Namaha is a mantra for Bhagavan, or it is a mystic mantra for Bhagavan. That is what he is saying in that particular verse number 10. This is because Muni has the vision of Bhagavan as Subramanya. So sometimes in his expressions, he reveals his own mystic experiences. This is one of those verses. Then in verse 11, we go on to Muni saying, Dandam Vinaiva Yatinam. Dandam Vinaiva Yatinam. A sannyasi normally has to carry a danda. That danda is very, very important for the sannyasi. If you see, there will be, for the renunciate, that ochre cloth will be tied at the top of the danda. The danda will never be laid down. It is an important, not only an important symbol of the sannyasi, it is also a very important part of the rites and the sacraments which a sannyasi has to observe. But Bhagavan does not carry any such danda. So Muni says, Dandam Vinaiva Yatinam. He is No, he is a sannyasi who typically does not have a danda. Now, Bhagavan was asked at a time when he was asked to give or be a witness for a case regarding the Arunachaleshwara temple, where the temple and the mountain were segregated. And as an authority, Bhagavan was asked to give a witness statement. And for that, they came to Ramanashramam and recorded his statement. At that point of time, they asked him several other questions. And one of the questions was where about him also, what is the ashrama? What is your ashrama? Are you a renunciate? So he says at that point of time, Bhagavan says, there is an ashrama called it is Atita. It is not belonging to any of the four. It is not a brahmacharya. It is not the sannyasa ashrama also. It is Ati Ashrami, he is called. He is beyond the ashramas. And he gives the example of Maharshi Sukha and Maharshi Vamadeva as Ati Ashramis. So, Shuka Maharshi is Ati Ashrami. He does not belong to any particular ashrama. So, Bhagavan in that sense comes in the lineage of Shuka Maharshi. And Shuka Maharshi, such a great, he was born as a Jivan Mukta, Shuka Maharshi, the son of Veda Vyasa. And there is a beautiful incident about his state of absolute natural self-awareness, where it is said that Vyasa, when Shuka Maharshi leaves home and goes away in total abandon, Vyasa, unable to bear that separation, runs after him. And he is running after him. Shuka is walking with great speed, unaware of his body. And we can even say that in recent parlance, we can say that we have the instance of Sadashiva Brahmendra. Shuka and Sadashiva Brahmendra are both Avadutas. So, Shuka Maharshi was going. As an Avaduta, he was just going. And Vyasa also was following him. It is said that as he was crossing the forest on lake, there were some ladies who were bathing there. And as they saw Vyasa approaching from a distance, they quickly covered themselves with their dresses. And Vyasa said, "You are covering yourself now. I am an old man walking across. A young lad just passed by and he was an Avadhuta. And you are not worried at all?" And they said, he was unaware of our presence. But we can see that you are aware of our presence. So that was the state of Shuka Maharshi. And Bhagavan says he is the Ati Ashrami. So he has no danda. But in this verse, Muni is using poetical paradoxes. He says he does not have a danda. He is a renunciate, yatinam. He is a renunciate. He is a great yati. But he doesn't carry the typical danda. Yet he is dandapani because he is Subramanya. Dandam vinaiva yatinam bata dandapanim. Dukkhabdi tarakam. He is the Taraka. He is a Taraka mantra. His name is a Taraka for taking us across the ocean of sorrow. Dukkhabdi. Dukkhabdi Tarakam. Arimbata Tarakasya. But he is the enemy of Tarakasura. He himself is Taraka. But he is the enemy of Tarakasura, whom he destroys on the way to his destruction of Surapadma. Then, Tyaktva Bhava. He has renounced Bhava. Bhava means becoming. Bhava means birth. Bhava means thought. Bhava means identity. Bhava means duality. That is called the Bhava Sagara. Then there is a birth, means one becomes something else. There is a duality. That is the Bhava. Tyaktva Bhavam. He has renounced Bhava entirely. Yet he is Bhava Maho Satatam Bhajantam. Shiva is also called Bhava. So he is always singing the praises of Shiva. How is Bhagavan always singing the praises of Shiva? Because he is constantly abiding in the self, which is the very essence of Shiva, which is the nature of Shiva, which is the nature of Arunachala. He is constantly pouring love towards Arunachala by never waving even 1 second away from Arunachala, who is Aham. So he is Bhavamaho Satatam Bhajantam. Constantly he is worshipping. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, the Jnani is dearest to me because he is never away from me. I am never away from him. He loves me for no reason at all. There are Chaturvida Bhajante Mam. 4 types of people love me. Artho, Jignasu, Artharti, Jnani cha Bharatarshava. The Artha is there, one who is finding some difficulty in this world. He is also my Bhakta. And the Jignasu is my Bhakta who wants more knowledge, who is yearning for knowledge. He is also my Bhakta. Artharthi, who wants more of money, wealth. He is also my Bhakta. And the Jnani is also my Bhakta. Of these, the Jnani is dearest to me. So, Bhavamaho Satatam Bhajantam. And what is Parabhakti? Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada says, in Viveka Chudamani, he says, Moksha Karana Samagryam Swaswarupānusandhānam Bhaktiritya Vidiyate. The ever abiding in the self is the greatest bhakti, he says. So, Bhagavan here Muni says is ever singing the praises, ever doing bhajana of Shiva, who is here referred to as Bhava. Bhava Maho Satatam Bhajantam Hamsam. He is the Paramahamsa, he is the great Hamsa. What is the tradition of Hamsa in our Bharata Samskriti, our Indian cultural heritage and spiritual heritage? The Hamsa is a bird who can do Neera Kshira Viveka, who can discriminate, who can not only distinguish, but separate the water from the milk if the two are mixed with one another. So it is said that the one who can separate the self from the illusion of being a body is a Hamsa. The word is usually used to denote the great Jivan Mukta. Hamsa is used to denote a Jivan Mukta. So, Hamsam tathapi gata manasa sangaragam. There are the Hamsas, physical Hamsas to be found in India. It is said in Bharata Varsha, in Manasa Sarovara. Of course, now Manasa Sarovara is in Tibet. But it is said the Hamsas sport in our traditional Bharata Varsha in the Manasa Sarovara. So the Hamsas are very fond of the Manasa. But here this Hamsa Bhagavan has no attachment to Manasa or the mind. He has in fact no mind. Bhagavan says in Ramana Gita earlier, we have seen it is like the mind of a Jnani is like the moon in daylight. That is how he has described the mind of the Jnani in Ramana Gita itself for us. So there is no raga, towards no raga, no sanga, no fondness for the mind, no attachment to the mind. Amsam tathapi gata manasa sanga ragam. So this is a beautiful verse where he says, Dandam vinaiva yatinam bata danda panim dukkhabdhi tarakam arimbata tarakasya tyaktva bhavam bhavamaho satatam bhajantam hamsam tathapi gata manasa sangaragam. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ram.
Namo Ramana. Apara Satchit Sukhavarirashi Yasyornimatram Bhuvanam Samastam Guhahitam Tam Ramanam Kaviram Chinta Vihinam Rudi Chintayan Chinta Vihinam Hridi Chintayan. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana.